All right, guys, welcome back to the Thousand Card Project. I'm excited about the guest we have today, Paul Carl. If you've not watched any of Paul's stuff on YouTube, I think he's probably the funniest guy on YouTube. He's got a funny humor, but very knowledgeable, very, the content that he put out. I think he's really intentional about what he puts out, and when he does, it moves the needle. So, man, Paul, really excited that you're on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I like that intentional. I'm going to use that instead of saying like I only put out a video like once every quarter. I'll reframe it. It's like I only put out intentional videos.
I mean, I think that's what you do, and I know it's been really helpful for me. But man, if for those that don't know you, maybe just really quickly, Reader's Digest version, how you got in the hobby, and then how that's led to your current kind of sports card business.
Yeah, it's a pretty cliche story. When I was a kid, I collected and didn't really do much with it beyond that. 2008 or so, I started selling on eBay on the side, and I started off selling my old Pokemon cards. Got $5 for my base set holographic Charizard.
Yeah,
Thought
right.
people were crazy for paying that, and then I got into selling a little bit of everything off and on for forever, pretty much. I've been pretty active on eBay since 2008. And then once lockdowns hit and cards were going crazy, I went to my mom's house, picked up all my old cards and started selling those, started buying them and selling them. I got some lucky hits in the beginning with some deals I was able to make. And yeah, cards seem like the best thing to sell because, they're so tiny. They don't take up any space.
That's what they
Unlike
say.
all the other crap I had now, I mean, if you could see the whole room, I'm drowning in them.
Yeah, I think I think it's one of those things. Like you said, everybody has a kind of similar story, but I think you've been able to really build upon it to where not only do you have that as a business. I know you sell some other things as well, and those types of deals, the cards. You've gone a step further and obviously built the YouTube channel around it as well. What was kind of the precipice of why you started that? What and why you continue to do it? I suppose.
Yeah, I started the YouTube channel just to kind of spare my wife from all my nerdy rantings. So I was like, I'll just rant into the void, and maybe there's some other nerds out there who will be into it. We could talk, and it's at like 1,800 subscribers or so now, which is crazy because I never would have thought I would get more than like 50. I didn't think there was that many nerds like me out there, but there are.
Yeah, I was when I wrote my first book, I always told people like I did that for me really more than anything. I thought my mom might buy it, but then like my wife maybe she would buy it. But no, I understand that as well, and I think it is cool. That's like we talked a little bit off camera about how what my goal with this podcast is. I think it's the best way to learn. I think you get on and then just sharing that, and then everybody's on a different step. They're on a different stage in their journey, and if you can just if you just learn from other people, maybe you eliminate some of those potholes that other people step in, and you get there a little bit quicker, right? And you avoid some of those mistakes. What with your business, we're going to get into Card Cobra and some of the things that you do later on. But like, what's kind of right now? What's your overall strategy with your sports card business and where you're trying to take it?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my average sale price to like $50 minimum. I'm trying to work my way up there, and being more intentional with how I source things. There's some different price points I'm going after. I made a little tool to kind of like break it down by different price points and how many listings you will need and all this stuff. But basically, I started off just doing $1.99 shipped singles, and I really quickly got to 100,000 active listings. And eBay used to have this program where if you hit 100,000 actives, you had an anchor store, and you had all the right metrics, they would just give you extra unlimited listings for free, basically. And so I went and asked about that and found out they had just canceled that program like a month ago when I talked to them. And I was like begging and pleading, trying to get into it. And they were like, just make another store. And
He's on to us. We figured
yeah.
out him.
Well, I didn't want to make another store. I was like, well, I guess I just won't sell cards then. First, I was like, I'll go back to selling something else. Ultimately, it was a blessing in disguise because that turned me on to selling lots instead. And the beauty of it is not only is it more profitable, but it's like faster and easier too if you aren't bogged down by the sorting. It's like a perfect example is like $1.99 ship cards. You might make 40, 50 cents a pop after everything's all said and done. Whereas if you, instead of making 50 cents a piece, selling 6 cards as singles individually, which is, $3 profit, you put those 6 cards in a lot and sell it for, $6.99 shipped. And now you're making like $5 a pop, and it's less work, less listings. You ship one order. It basically forces the multi-card order that, that's the dream of the single seller. Like, man, someone bought 3 cards from me. This is great.
Right.
It makes every card a multi-card order. And then it gets even better when you get someone who buys, like I just had a couple days ago, somebody bought 5 lots. So it's like a whole nother rush selling, 30 cards in 5 lots than it is compared to selling like 30 cards as singles, because it takes, a sixth of the time to pick, pack, and ship.
That was one of the first things that really kind of forced me to reach out to you, was just seeing what you were doing with the lot space. Cause I think a lot of people, and this is where I started, and this is, one of the questions I wanted to dig into later is, I think a lot of people, when they start doing lots, they're just trying to get rid of all their junk. And so they
Hmm.
just lot it up, and they try to get rid of it. You've been really, again, intentional about selecting, some specific players or specific Pokemon characters or themes of cards or whatever. What has worked the best for you in the lot space? I mean, you've gone from 100 card lots to 6 card lots to 3 card lots. What seems to work the best?
Yeah, I was just experimenting, and the biggest thing I noticed was that the player lots do the best in the sports card world. Team lots are okay. Set lots are probably the second best if it's like vintage stuff. So like partial vintage sets, and they're all roughly, the same condition. Like maybe they're VGX or, whatever, near mint. Those do great. The character lots for Pokemon are awesome, but I've also done pretty well selling like trainer play sets, which is 4 of the same card. And it's called a play set because you get 4 in a deck maximum. But those are like lower end stuff. So like 4 trainers, you might get $5 shipped for them. But I mean, they sold pretty quick, and I want to have a mix of like low, mid, and higher end. The dream, though, for me is like I had 2, higher end Marvel sets, so a couple like complete sets, and somebody wanted 2 of them. Each set was about $200 individually, so I made a deal, and we did like 350 or 360 for the 2 sets of cards, and the margins on those are incredible, and nobody sells them. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because there's like few people copying me now. They got the image style down, but very few people sell them that way. And I'm starting to curate player lots, things that can be repeatable or have like a quantity in the listing. So like, let's say, I have a 30 card Ovechkin lot that I've sold a couple of already, and it's just all inserts and parallels of Ovechkin cards. And I have multiples of each of them, and they're all like organized and ready to go. So it's something that I can not only repeat, but it's a lot more profitable than selling them as singles. It's like, I think I'm asking like 45 a pop or 40 a pop. And yeah, it's awesome. That like 40 to 200-ish dollar range is really a really nice arena to be in. And that's what I want to get into more of. But on the other hand, I have like 2,400 followers on my eBay store, and they know me. A lot of them know me from selling the low end singles and from like the 6 card player lots for the 6.99 shipped. So I'm still trying to work in some lower end stuff to kind of like not just abandon that following. So I'll have like a little mix, and maybe some of them will move up market, maybe some of them won't. It's just something I'm going to see how it goes and keep experimenting with. That's the beauty of doing it on the side, is I can kind of just test and experiment and do whatever I want, and my like financial life isn't like I'm not going to lose the house
Right.
over what I do on my eBay store. So it's nice to have that kind of freedom and flexibility.
Yeah, I think you said something there that I think is really important. And you made a whole video about this on it. We'll link it, of essentially having a SKU that's repeatable, that you have inventory of, that you just replenish every single time it gets down to zero in the quantity. You take advantage of all the watchers on that. You take advantage of all, of, sales and those types of things. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, kind of the psychology of that and how that works.
Yeah, it's both psychological and technical. Because from the technical side, you get a lot better SEO, like you get better rankings in eBay search results, because eBay sees that, oh, this guy, like I have one set that I sell out of it within a few days of restocking it, so I'm starting to more aggressively source that set to try to keep it in stock. But every time I throw it up, all the watchers get the push notification on their phone. They might get an email from eBay. When people are searching for it, eBay is going to show it at the top of the list because they know that I sell it quickly. It's got that high conversion rate. So it's really nice to not start from scratch on every listing. And that's something that I struggled with a little bit because, there's a part of me that really values as a customer, like seeing the exact scans of the cards that I'm going to get. I don't really like seeing the stock photos, but I'm also finding that a lot of people will spend $100 on a set and it might be stock scans and they don't care. And I think that's where like reputation comes into play. But then the other side of the thing is from the psychology standpoint, eBay will show, last one in stock in 3 carts, 10 have sold already. So it gives you that sense of urgency and like, oh man, somebody else might get this. I might not send them that, 10% off asking price offer now. I might just hit the buy it now button so that somebody else doesn't beat me to it. Things like that.
Yeah, I think well, one thing with that is when you're talking about the scans, now you've created software that tie in with Card Cobra that you're working more with shops on, but then you've also created a web app that is able to generate some of these scans. But you're taking individual pictures that you've either scanned or taken, and then combining that into these really cool kind of group photos. I guess talk a
Yeah.
little bit about the talk a little bit about like why that was creating that, but then also the entrepreneurial part of going out about and learning the code and do all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, well, it's kind of out of necessity. Everything I've done is kind of scratched my own itch, which is nice because there's a lot of other people who have that same itch. So I was kind of forced into like selling it and creating it so that other people can use it, making it user friendly and all that. But the challenge with lots that makes it difficult compared to doing singles is with stuff like Chrono Card or God forbid you use Card Dealer Pro. You anyone can just scan the cards and list a million singles really easily. But if you want to do that same listing speed with lots, you can't really do it because you got to take the pictures. You might, if you want to do a good job, you got to spread the cards out, take the individual photos, flip them all over, like arrange them. And it's just very time consuming. And then you got to do all the item specifics, descriptions. Like maybe you use an eBay template, but even then it kind of sucks. And what Card Cobra does is it just takes those scans, uses Chrono Card's AI, you export all that data, and then Card Cobra takes that data, creates the entire listing, does all the item specifics perfectly, stitches all the scans together into these nice collages so that customers can see the scans of every single card. And then it adds like some advertising image. I might add some more images just for SEO purposes. But yeah, it does the whole thing. So you can actually list lots faster than you can list singles with Card Cobra because you're not having to check every single card with the AI. So like if I'm doing my 6 card lots, which I just scanned a bunch yesterday. So let's say there's like 600 cards I scanned. Instead of having to check the AI on 600 different cards, the only data that has to be accurate is the first card in each lot. So I'm checking 100 cards for the AI's accuracy. And then I price them all the same, export them. I literally click a button, all my listings get created, and I just upload it to eBay. So in terms of like the time and the speed, if I was doing the singles, not only would I make less profit per card, but I would also spend 6 times more time doing the AI checking than I have to with this new method. And the only drawback, and the thing I always warn people about is like if you can't get cards in that are sorted or like sorted enough, like let's say you buy cards from ComC, they're not going to come in perfect order, but it's going to be a small enough amount, like let's say up to 500 cards. It's a lot faster and easier to manage just sorting 500 cards than sorting, 5 rows or something like
Right.
that. So your time can become a lot more valuable that way. That's kind of my big thing is a lot of card sellers, especially the volume, low value singles, like what I used to do. We don't value our time. I thought that if I had enough cards in my store and if I did the right promotions, the right coupons, I could get those multi-card orders, which would make it worth the time. But even when I had a buy one, get one free coupon running, most people would just buy one card anyways and not even bother to get the free one. So trying to consistently generate multi-card orders to make it worth the time seemed impossible to me, which also helped push me into doing lots, especially when eBay kind of forced me.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people out there. I've had this conversation a couple times with selling low end, making $1 profit on a car or something like that. I do think there's a part of that people have to go through to learn, identify cards that sell, identify players that sell, those types of things. But, yeah, you're right. If you don't start to ramp that up pretty quick, then your time becomes an issue. unless you have time. If you
Yeah,
have time,
yeah.
then you need to, then make money however you make it. But I think one thing that I really like about what you're doing, and I've heard it in kind of like the reselling space, is like that $20, $25 kind of price mark is kind of something changes within the algorithm, I guess, to kind of make that a little bit more valuable. You mentioned $50 on your average sale price that you're trying to get to. For the people that are, I guess it's a two-part question. The sourcing, you're really figuring out your sourcing strategies to get those for as cheaply as you can. Sometimes a penny a card, sometimes, to where that
Yeah.
makes sense. But for the people that are going to like their average card shop and they're digging through their dollar boxes and they're coming away with, however many cards at $1 a piece, what would be the best lot size to try to make money on that price point, I guess?
Oh man, I would say if you're buying cards at $1 a piece, if you could get like 30 together and then charge like, oh, you'd have to try to get to like 75 probably to have a decent margin. It's harder if you're paying $1 a card. So I don't, I mean, I guess I don't really find my inventory for lots from the dollar boxes. When I dig through a dollar box, well, one, it's generally not a great use of my time because there's better places to source inventory and do it quicker and more efficiently. But I look at digging through the dollar box like scratching lottery tickets, but you don't have to pay $1 first. It's, you go through, like I found at my LCS, they don't really know like 90s stuff that much. So I'll go through and poke through their dollar box every now and then. And like the last time I was there, I got a Hakeem Olajuwon refractor, like a Topps Chrome one that I mean, they assumed it was worthless, but it was like his first year in some other uniform or whatever. And it actually was in good shape. So I bought it for $1. It was like a $20 card. I graded it, sold it for 100. Did the same thing with, actually, it was another Hakeem insert. And it was like a rare 90s insert, like one in 500 packs or something. And they had no idea. So even raw, that card was like $80. So I graded it. It didn't get a great grade, but I still sold it for 150. So, I scratched those lottery tickets and, when it comes to the hourly profit, it's not really that much better than, just doing what I normally do, but it's fun, and if you're in the area and want to stay out of the house a little longer, have some peace and quiet from the kids, you can, pop in and scratch the tickets. I think like sourcing online, sniping eBay auctions, finding underpriced lots on eBay, or finding sellers who don't really know the value of what they're selling. You can find some great stuff. And I mean, I mess up too. Like I sold a lot and it sold really quickly. Wasn't sure why, but there was a Chris Bosh rookie. It was James Harden rookie or something, like a $10 card or whatever, mixed into my little lot of 6 for $7. So somebody got a great deal there. It happens to everybody. People underprice things all the time, and you can find deals that way. Some of the lots I sell, like I literally would just buy a lot from somebody who has a bunch of cards of, whatever player, like let's say a Don Mattingly lot, and there's like 1,000 cards and he's asking $30 or something really cheap. And it's just a picture of it spread out on the table and you don't really know what's in there. There's tons of dupes or whatever. I bought that lot and just busted it down to like 100 card lots, minimized the duplicates. And then, that turned into like $300-400 in revenue for $30. There's opportunities. You just got to have the discipline to look for them on eBay, or like the habit of going to like TCG Player, which is great. The thing I love about TCG Player is you can buy cards for literally pennies a piece, and most of these sellers will have free shipping at $5. So you can buy, 300-400 cards for $5 shipped. And these guys are getting hosed, but I guess it's a learning experience for them. Or you can go above their minimum threshold if they have enough inventory for it. But that stuff all comes in sorted because the TCG Player sellers, they all sort their inventory ahead of time before they list it. So it's all like alphabetical or by set or whatever, so they can find it. They don't use like box row tab like we do as sports card sellers. So you can go buy a ton of Pokemon cards. They all come in sorted and you don't have to sort them at all. You just run them through the scanner, resell them on eBay, and you make a great margin doing that too. There's so many opportunities. Yeah. Even ComC, like not every card on ComC makes it to eBay. Sometimes you can buy some singles on ComC and then resell them as singles on eBay because ComC never put it on eBay and the guy who was selling it there put it too cheap. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think getting back to a little bit of that price point, then what do you think is the right price point? keeping in mind like the shipping part of it, right? So like you get 3 cards in eBay standard envelope, right, up to $1.25, but then you got to go up to kind of ground advantage. Where's kind of the magic? 3 cards for $5, 20 cards for 20, whatever it is. What do you think are the kind of the main kind of lot sizes to kind of stay in?
For the way that I ship, I like 6 card lots because I put them in 2 ounce eBay standard envelope. I ship in number 10 envelopes, 2 card savers, 3 cards to a penny sleeve to a card saver. And then you can actually double layer it too. So you could go up to 12 cards in one standard envelope. So if you're trying to like really maximize things, 12 card lots for like $12.99 shipped, that's kind of the golden size for like your typical, player lot or whatever. The 6 card lots seem to sell more frequently for me. I think that's probably because I have more 6 card lots than 12 card lots. But yeah, in terms of like efficiency and maximizing profit, if it's an eBay standard envelope, 12 cards to one eBay standard envelope is ideal. And if you can get 12 cards in there that are worth $20, you're even better. Or if you can get 6 cards in there that are worth $20, that's great.
But that 6 card lot at 2 ounces, kind of like what are you trying to aim for your buy, and what are you trying to aim for your sell?
Oh, you got to have them for virtually free. If you're doing like 6.99, that's what most of mine are, 6.99. So you got to have pretty much nothing into those. That's kind of the perfect lot size for like if you have bulk. Like I got a bunch of Wayne Gretzky's here. These are like the perfect kind of fodder that I just found them in a bulk box, throw them in. They're already like all Gretzky's. So you can very easily put those into 6 card lots and flip them that way, or 12 card lots or whatever. I feel like the way that the cards are sorted when they come in has to dictate how you sell them when you're taking your time into account. Because if these Wayne Gretzky cards were mixed in with a bunch of other bulk commons, then I'm not pulling these out. I'm just going to take that whole box of bulk commons and do like a hockey box for 35, 40 shipped and do it like I don't do medium flat rate boxes. I do ground advantage cubic with like a Walmart box that's basically the same size. It's 11 by 7.5 by 5.5 inches is the dimensions. So I filled that up. It fits like 22 to 2,500 cards, roughly like a 3-row box kind of ish. So you could fit all that into there and sell it for, 30 to $50 depending on the sport or how heavily duplicated it is or if it's mixed or not. That's where most of my cards end up going. They just get bulked out. And obviously you can cherry pick stuff. So like I'll cherry pick things for ComC and eBay. Like my ComC pile, I just refilled my ComC box, but I have like this card. It's a little perforated Team USA insert. It's worth like $2. I'll just send it to ComC instead of bulking it out. And I got like these Harry Potter cards, which I don't know what they are. I couldn't find them on ComC or on eBay. And when I find interesting stuff like this, I'll just send them to ComC too and let them figure it out.
Yeah, I thought that ComC strategy, I mean, again, you created a whole video around what you're doing with ComC as well, but looking at it as almost like a part-time employee and how that relates out, I thought that was really, I took that strategy as well and trying to do more with ComC is also what kind of, I guess right now you're trying to buy collections, lots, whatever for, pennies on the dollar as best you can. And then you're essentially sorting that. If it's pre-sorted by player, you're trying to put those in the player lots. If they come in, they're kind of random. You're putting these these flat rate boxes or the Walmart box or whatever, sending some out to ComC that you feel are worth it, and maybe listing some higher level ones or ones that you can grade on eBay. Is that kind of the gist of everything?
Kind of, because I'm not even really buying big bulk collections. I try to avoid that now, to be honest with you, because it's more time consuming than it's generally worth. But it's kind of like that lottery ticket thing, because, you go through it and you might find some of those nice cards. You might get a couple $100 worth of cards to send to ComC, maybe a couple hundred to send to like, I got my antique mall booth where I got some cards here. So I don't know, I got just some Peyton Mannings,
Yeah.
Eddie, some Max Scherzer cards. Like, I'm going to throw these in the booth for 50 cents a piece, employ my kid to put the 50-cent stickers on them. So that's another outlet for some of these cards that, I know those will move because they're popular players. So that's another way for them to go out without having to list them to singles on eBay and pick, pack, and ship and all that. So there's multiple channels. And I wanted to make a flow chart of this to show, but it's just too complicated and flowchart software is really annoying to use. Maybe I'll get a whiteboard or something and do a video that way. But there's multiple ways, multiple channels for me to sell cards depending on what they are and how they're configured. And so it's just a matter of taking whatever that bulk thing is and splitting it out into what it has to go to maximize value and profit per hour. And then whatever's left that doesn't meet the cut for the main channels, that just gets bulked out. But the dream really is like with TCG Player, where I go on TCG Player, I buy 1,000 cards from a seller, I get them shipped in, they're all in order. I literally open the box, put them in the scanner, file them away, and then I enlist them for whatever they go for on eBay, and make a nice margin. Because a lot, like, I bought one seller, I bought like 400 Pikachu cards for 2 cents a piece. And in my like Pikachu lots on eBay, I can get $1 a card. So anytime I find Pikachus, I want to, and they're like pennies, I'm buying all of them. That's it. And they all come in sorted. So it's not like I'm going to sit here sorting Pikachus all day. Like I'm just flip through, find where one Pikachu ends and the next one begins, and put them in my little Pikachu box so that I have my back stock for as they sell.
It's essentially what you're doing with on the sports side as well. Like you might say, like Michael Jordan is a liquid player, right? You try to
Yeah.
buy as many Michael Jordans as you can at whatever price point, and then when they come in, you flip those around.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find the card. I thought I had an extra one laying here. But like the Sam Vincent Hoops card with Jordan's in the 12 jersey, I have a lot of 6 of those that I sell for $19.99 shipped eBay standard envelope, and I had like 30 of that card from a lot that I won on eBay on an auction. But that's a great example of one where it's when it sells, I just scan in 6 more, change the photos, put the quantity back to 1. It just keeps moving. So I'm down to my last one now. That's a nice like replenishable one. So like for example, if you find a card like that where the price is kind of vague, because if you look at sold comps, they'll go, some of them will sell for $2, some of them will sell for $10. There's no rhyme or reason for it. But if I can consistently sell 6 for 20, then I can pay $1 for them all day. And if you go on Comp C, sometimes you can get them for $1 there when people run sales or when there's enough people undercutting each other. You can go just buy a whole bunch of them for $1 a piece and sell them on eBay later. And if you know enough cards or players or like curate enough lots that are going to be the same every time, you can really hone in on these particular individual cards and try to make sure that you have like an auto buy at whatever price that the maximum that you can pay for them.
Yeah, that's so you just said something there that I didn't know about. There's an auto. You have an auto buy feature in eBay.
No, I don't have an auto buy feature. I mean, with AI now, I bet you can make one pretty easily.
It's, I think that's like I forgot about the antique mall as an outlet as well. That's interesting as well. What
Yeah.
really quick, just kind of talk through the economics of that, I guess.
Yeah, it's in a small town. It's in Herkimer, New York, and there's like the population there's like 11,000 or something, or 1,100, one of the two, but not a lot of people. But I got a good space. I've grown. My first spot there was $40 a month, and they don't take a commission. So I'm up to $180 now for the bigger space that I have, and yeah, I just loaded up with cards. I had a bunch of my old Legos there, kind of like random stuff. I sold like an antique sewing machine there, some like old Crocs. Like, so I kind of get a little fix for all my random stuff that I used to sell. I used to sell, like, if it exists, I've probably sold it in one form or another, whatever category. So I do sell some other random crap there, even though I try not to. But yeah, I'm revamping it to basically rip off Burbank, where they're doing those 2 rows, and the 2-row boxes are like all cards of one player or are all cards of one team. So I'm taking that concept and I'm going to implement it there, which is nice because you can, like, when you think about retail, it's all about like revenue per square foot. This allows you to integrate like vertical space for cards. Instead of like, you think of a card show where the dealers are set up, you basically have that table space, and that's pretty much it. Maybe you bring a shelf with you or whatever. So that was essentially how my setup was at the antique mall, is like tables with boxes of cards on them. No real room for like vertical space except for like my card supplies. But with ripping off Burbank, I could now capitalize on the vertical space. And I'm actually I'm targeting cards that I want to buy specifically for the booth because I know what the customers there like. And that's something that you can source on ComC too. So like if you live in Green Bay, you can go on ComC and buy like some really nice Green Bay autos or Green Bay patches and serial number cards. You can find all this stuff like really cheap.
Right.
It takes forever for them to ship it to you if you go with the bulk model. It's like 30 cents a card when you work out the math. And then it'll take months to get there. But the normal collector doesn't want to wait months to get their cards. So there's value add in curation, whether it's how you curate your lots or how you curate your antique mall booth or whatever it is, or your eBay store. And you can provide that value of curation and combine it with quick shipping and affordable shipping, because the craziest thing is, like, with how CompC is now on their eBay with their policy, like it's like $1 for every other card you add. So I can buy the cards on CompC, ship them back to myself, resell them on eBay in a 6 card lot, and it's going to be cheaper than buying those same cards from CompC on eBay as singles, because even if they're $1 a piece, they become $2 a piece when you add on the shipping. So it's like, it's kind of crazy how it all works out that way. But yeah, there's a lot of arbitrage opportunities, a lot of areas you can add value, and it's just a matter of, manage your inventory levels and your selection of cards that you want to have, ordering them, waiting that month or two. Like I got a big order just shipped. Actually, it shipped a month early, which was nice. It shipped this morning, but it's like 500 Buffalo Bills cards because I'm in New York. It's all patches, autos, serial numbered cards that I got for like really good prices on ComC, and I'll be able to make a nice margin on them and just throw them in the booth, or maybe I'll throw some on eBay too. We'll see where they all end up, but I'm just excited to see how that turns out, because what I've been doing previously has been working really well, and I think this is a way to kind of take it to the next level.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I like that a lot, especially with my wife going to all these antique malls all the time. I think it's a good
Yeah,
idea. What is there a certain price point that you try to like? Is there stages of prices that you try to stay there just to protect yourself from theft and all the things that kind of go along with an antique mall?
yeah. Most of the cards there are 50 cents to $5, occasional $10 card or whatever. And I had a showcase there with the key, the lock on it, so that people would have to ask, but nobody ever bought it because nobody wants to go ask, find some employee to ask to open it up. So I took that out. But yeah, like last month I had a really good month. It was like a fourth quarter type month because it was $700 in revenue, and that's off 50 cents to $5 cards sitting there. I don't have to be there. I just, get to hang out with my daughter while she puts stickers on the cards for me, and drive out every week or two and restock. So it's nice. If from a business perspective though, if it was my primary, if it was something that I had to do like during the workday and it wasn't something that I worked on, when I'm spending time with my kids, or, picking out cards for it when I'm with my wife, or like I sleeved these up while I was waiting for the call to start. So like I use it as like filler time. If it was like good time I had to dedicate to it, I don't think it would be worth it. But the benefit of it is it adds a way for you to like be flexible while you do other stuff like relaxing things. Maybe turn on a movie with the wife. You're pulling out cards and pricing them for the booth or whatever. Um, that's where it brings value. And then if you have kids, like with my daughter, she's working. It's a family business. When she's putting those 50-cent stickers on the sleeves for me, I can give her a paycheck, write that off as wages. And then now she's making an income that I can throw in an index fund for her or whatever. And she's not going to make more than the taxable threshold. So it's tax-free money to her that's going to set her up when she's older. And it's a business write-off for me. So it's more so than like a revenue profit generating thing. It's more of like I don't know, like a family thing, like optimizing the finances and trying to teach a work ethic to my daughter. And that's not tax advice, so ask your accountant. But that's roughly what I'm trying to do with it. Is more of a financial tool and like source of leads, because I do buy some collections from there occasionally. And, I'll buy everything just so that people will always want to come to me because they'll know I'll buy whatever. But yeah, it has a lot of little perks, but not
Yeah,
the most profitable.
yeah, but I mean, it's just again, it's another one of those channels to unload, inventory, and I think that's the key is just being able to source it and be able to, be able to jump on deals when you see them in different ways, and then having the channels to kind of get rid of it, and make it profitable. But one thing that I've heard you say in your videos before, it just kind of got me thinking about it as you were talking there is, and I agree with this, is you re-sleeve, top load everything. Yeah, I think you referenced it as like a dirty condom or something.
Yeah, you wouldn't reuse a condom.
I agree 1000% with that because I think I don't know. I'm just I guess a germaphobe like like that as well. But how do you reconcile like I know that you resell used top loaders as like a bulk deal. I know you've done that, but how do you kind of reconcile? How do you source? and keep that from a profit standpoint manageable? But then also, how do you reconcile like just throwing a bunch of stuff in the garbage in a landfill somewhere, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, every business produces a lot of garbage,
Yeah.
and cards definitely produce more garbage for me than like when I sold glassware. That was something I specialized in for a while, and there's like no garbage from that other than breaking the glass on accident. So I try to recycle stuff like all the little paper slips from ComC. I throw them in the recycling bin. Most of them end up in the truck. Only a handful are blowing around the neighborhood after. So yeah, I mean, I get that like it would be better to reuse everything, but for me it's like I'm running a business and I'm trying to have a certain brand and level of expectations. Like you wouldn't go into like I don't know, what's a high end place. You wouldn't go to like the Ralph Lauren Purple Label boutique or whatever, wherever they sell that stuff. They wouldn't give you like a plastic Walmart bag to put your sweater in when you check out and say, "Oh, we're just, helping the environment." People will expect like that nice, like high quality, paper bag, or maybe they give you a cloth tote, or I don't know what they do. I don't buy that stuff. But you want the packaging and the experience to match the brand. Like I don't want people to come to my booth or order from me on eBay and get that yellow crusty top loader from 1992. I want them to get like a more professional buttoned up experience. And some people will even comment on that on the feedback. Like one guy went so far as to message me and be like, "Hey, I usually like have to redo all the sleeves and top loaders on all the cards I buy, but the set that you sold me, like everything was pristine. I didn't change a thing. It was awesome. Like, thank you." I was
I
like, "You're
go to
welcome, man." I feel the same way. Like I get the crap. I don't want it. And I don't know, I have like a little basket under this table here. So all when I'm here taking all the top loaders off, I just throw them in the basket like little frisbees. And once the basket hits critical mass, I throw them in a box and bump the quantity up on my top loader listing.
Yeah, no, I think that's smart because you're recouping some of that. How do you? I mean, I know you put a lot of time into kind of sourcing those materials to kind of keep your costs down, but I mean, is there anything that you can share with that in terms of people that would want to do the same?
Yeah, well, actually, the crazy thing is buying the used top loaders for the price that I sell them at is not really that much cheaper than just buying new top loaders from like wholesale. So if you're doing this as a business, like you need to get your resale certification or whatever your tax exemption, whatever your state requires, and you can actually use tax exemption on eBay. You'll just need to have like if you're going to buy anything for personal use, not for business purposes, use your wife's phone for that one. But yeah, so you can buy stuff on eBay without paying sales tax, but then you can also sign up and apply to get access to different distributors with that. Then usually you just need your EIN and whatever form your state requires, if they require one. New York State requires, what is it, form, what, 540 or something like that? ST 540 maybe? I don't know. But you fill out the form and it's pretty painless. You get the certification number and then you can go to a distributor with that. And then you can buy stuff wholesale and not pay sales tax on it when you purchase it. So like Columbia Hobby Wholesale is a good one. BatsBaseball.com is another solid one if you're near New York because he does charge shipping, but I'm like a couple hours away, so it's not bad for me. Yeah, but that's the way to do it because I just re-upped. I bought some more top loaders because Columbia Hobby Wholesale had them on sale. So it's like 7 cents per top loader, brand new for cardboard gold, which is a pretty good deal. And yeah, when you go look and see what I think I sold my last box of used top loaders for like 33 bucks shipped. And I don't know, there's like a couple hundred that fit in there. So it's like 7 6 7 cents a top loader still, which I don't know. But if you sell the new ones on eBay, you got to mark it up so much more. So it makes it a little cheaper than buying new from just some random guy at retail.
Sure.
But yeah.
I think you're right. I mean, it goes back to customer experience and then just trying to kind of all the infrastructure that, try to find ways to reduce the cost of the infrastructure, to kind of support it. And yeah, I think that pipeline, I think is smart. We'll finish here with just some kind of some quick questions. Any other tools? I mean, obviously Card Cobra you use, that's your own and feel free to kind of, tell people where they can get more information about that. But you've mentioned Chrono Card, just kind of workflow of different tools that you use.
Yeah, Chrono Card I use for everything because of their AI. If you're selling singles, I think Chrono Card's the best, hands down, because their UI, granted, most of it is like horrible and horrific and terrible, and it takes some getting used to because they made such poor design decisions. But the one thing, the holy grail of AI listing whether it's cards or anything, is what ChronoCard did with their table view. So you basically can see a grid of the cards and all the data associated with them in a table, and you can navigate it, use Excel hotkeys, all that kind of good stuff. But as you highlight each row, the images above it change to match the item that that row's data corresponds to. So you can very quickly go through and check the AI and make any adjustments that you need to do without having to make extra clicks to blow up the image of the card or do this and that, or like have to click through or click save. It just makes it so much faster and easier. So that's why I love ChronoCard so much. Card Cobra, that just automates taking those images and turning it into lots. That is like, I guess this is more like enterprise or like large seller tier. Like it's not for beginners or people new to selling cards. It's probably not for most people, to be honest with you. If it's something that piques your interest, though, you can check out cardcobra.com or go to my YouTube channel, Paul Carl Cards, and look at some of my videos where I talk about that to get more information. There's usually two camps. People think I'm like this con artist ripping people off, charging way too much, and like nobody's ever going to pay that. And then the other people are like, holy shit, I need this yesterday. Like, where's this been all my life? And they'll pay whatever price. But for the right person, like my best customers, the people who love it the most and use it the most, it actually saves them money on a monthly basis because of the scale of their operation, and the fact that it allows you to do unlimited listings to unlimited eBay accounts is a huge perk. But for smaller sellers who maybe you're just getting started or you're just starting to dabble in lots a little bit, you're not doing a huge volume with them, I made a little web app that just generates the images. So you upload your scans and then it spits out the images. You can download them, create a listing from like an eBay template or whatever, or doing a sell similar. It's called megacollage.com. That's something that's free. And there's some promo for Card Cobra there too. And actually, I made a free open source AI postcard lister recently.
I saw
Well,
that. Yeah.
yeah, has a little kinks still, but it does decent. I've been able to send some offers. I haven't sold any of mine yet, but I think I've only listed like 10 or 20.
That's cool, man. All right, rapid fire here. PC card you'd never sell.
I got one right here. This is my PSA 9. Wait, PSA 9 Topps Chrome Dikembe Mutombo. I know it might look like paper. PSA said it's Topps Chrome, so you can't argue with PSA. This is Topps Chrome. It is
That's
my
awesome.
favorite card.
All right, favorite hobby YouTube channel.
Oh man, that's a tough one. My favorite hobby YouTube channel. I really like Rudy from Alpha Investments, if he counts. He's more Magic the Gathering. I like him a lot. I like RNG Games. He's another TCG seller. Though, Chris Sewell, obviously, baseball card collector, investor, dealer. Those are my favorite ones these days.
Favorite card show you've ever attended.
Oh man, I've only been to like 4.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I think my favorite was the time my first card show I went to. I set up as a dealer. I'd never been to a card show. I just showed up as a dealer, and it was a ton of fun. The electric was out for like the first 3 hours, so they wouldn't let any customers in. So it was just like dealers talking and selling and whatnot. But it was a fun experience. I made money. In terms of a profit per hour view, I did not do very good for my time, but it was a ton of fun. So that was my favorite card show. It was out at like a veterans thing in Herkimer.
If you could buy one Grail card today, what would you buy?
Oh, I don't need to buy any Grail cards. I already showed you my Grail. I got right above me right there. That's my fake Michael Jordan rookie. So I don't really need the Jordan rookie. I got the fake one. It looks the same. So
Looks the
looks
same.
pretty good.
If you were given a recommendation of me right now, the project is at basically 5,000 level, meaning every card in the project is worth at least $5. So if you had a $5 card, and a $100 card to recommend me go after right now, what would that be? That I can level up at least $1 profit on.
Yeah, I would try to get the 1990 Fleer Michael Jordan, the one where he's like, like this and his legs are out. Because you can sometimes get that for $5 and then it's easy to sell it for 10 and it books for 20. So getting that card for 5, fairly common to do, and then selling it for 10, also very easy to do. So that would be my $5 card recommendation. And as for $100 card recommendation, I have no idea. I don't know. I haven't sold enough $100 cards. I guess that would maybe be a raw to grade flip and
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I agree.
Take one of your $5 cards that are gradable, turn it into a $100 card.
There you go. All right. Lastly, here, where can people stay up with you and stay up with your content?
On YouTube's the best place. I have a Discord also. So the YouTube's Paul Carl Cards. And in all or most of the videos, there's a link to the Discord. It's pretty active. A lot of us nerds talking about selling cards and whatnot. So that's the best place to get in touch. I'm also somewhat active on X. I don't post much, but I read and DM people there pretty frequently. Yeah, those are the best places to get a hold of me.
It's awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing so freely. And just, man, thank you for all the content that you put out, because I know it's been impactful for me. So appreciate it, man.
My pleasure, dude. Happy to help. I love talking shop, so it works out for both of us.